Well, there was a woman in the Bible days. She had been sick so very long. And when she heard about Jesus was passing by, she joined the gathering crowd. And while she was pushing her way through, someone asked her, "What are you trying to do?" She said, "If I can just touch the hem of his garment, I know I'll be made whole." And she cried, "Oh, whoa, and whoa, 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 whoa." Said, "If I can just touch the hem of his garment, I know I'll be made whole." She spent all her money here and there until she had no more to spare. The doctors, they done all they could, but their medicine would do no good. And when she touched him, the Savior didn't see, but still he turned around and cried, "Somebody touched me." She said, "It was I who just want to touch the hem of your garment. I know I'll be made whole." And she cried, "Oh, whoa, 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 whoa." Said, "If I can just touch the hem of his garment, I know I'll be made whole right now." Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. I want to thank you for checking out the Cali Truck Stop Theater. I'm out here in, where am I at? Somewhere in Michigan. I just left Grand Rapids. It's Holland. That's it, Holland, Michigan, and they got me heading over to Wisconsin. But I'm shut down for today, and it's snowing. The last couple of days now, I've been running around here in between Illinois and Michigan. So hopefully I get the heck out of here. I'm tired of all the snow now. But I did that song just to sing, because my mom had talked to me a little while back, and she asked me to make a video with me singing, because she hadn't heard me sing in a while. And I was like, well, I hadn't sung in a while myself anyways. And so recently I've been singing again, but I stopped singing for a while, and so I'm just getting back into it. But I figure I'd do this video and just I just run down memory lane, have you run down memory lane with me for a little while. So I was singing, I've been singing ever since I was a little kid. I remember when I was really young, I used to sing some of them old blues songs that my dad had, and just act the character, But as I started growing up, I kind of shied away from that, kind of secluded myself with that, But when I do some singing and stuff like that, I sometimes remember way back in the day when I used to sit at home and sing to the records and stuff like that. I remember just about every chance that I got when I would come home from school and there was nobody in the house but me, and I'm like, and you know, it was just, um, and this was pretty much almost every time when my dad left the house and I was by myself. Almost every time I would you know, bust out the records and I start singing those songs and stuff, right? Because you know, I enjoyed them. You know, they're good songs and stuff, you know. And so yeah, especially after coming home from school and there's nobody at home, and I'm like, this is the perfect time to, you know, to just, well, you know how it is. It's like, you know, you're home by yourself. You got the whole place to yourself. You just want to just, you know, you just want to be you, really, you know. And so yeah, I would go and get those records and I'd play them, and I'd learn how, um, you know, how these guys would sing and stuff, you know, because way back in the day, there wasn't a lot of special effects. I mean, when you sang, you had to sing, you know. So if your voice didn't sound good, it most likely didn't sound too good on the record. You know, because it was, I mean, they would have some, you know, some effects to, you know, to kind of enhance it, but it wasn't like today where you can take somebody who really can't sing, put them through you know, put their voice through many filters and vocal machines and stuff like that, and it comes out like $1,000,000. But yeah, these guys had to really sing, so I learned how to sing listening to a lot of people. You know, like I would, well, my range, my high and low range, I learned that by listening to the Temptations and Isaac Hayes and stuff like that. You know, especially Isaac Hayes, because Isaac Hayes, he has a wide range. I mean, he can hit those high notes and he can get down to them low notes. You know, but my greatest influences of my singing was Stevie Wonder and Al Green, but my biggest influence was Marvin Gaye. And you know, but there was many others that, you know, that I learned the songs and I'd listen to how, you know, to how they sang the songs, you know. But I really, you know, I really did enjoyed doing that. I remember when I first decided to or when I first decided to, you know, really sing out in public. This was, wow, it was actually just about 20 years ago. I'm getting old, boy. Yeah, it was actually 1999. I was in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. At the time, I was in the military, and I had spent a significant time over there in the sandbox, as military folk call it. If you're military, you know where the sandbox is. But yeah, it was Saudi Arabia, and I was just outside of Riyadh at Prince Sultan Air Base, and there was somebody was putting together a competition. It was a talent, well, it was a talent show. It wasn't really, I mean, it was a competition, but you know, there wasn't anything really, there wasn't any like real prize, nothing like that. It was just some entertainment to, you know, to entertain the troops and stuff like that, right? So I saw this. I was with a couple of my buddies at the time, and we saw the announcement for the talent show, right? And so what had happened was that some of my buddies at the time, they told me that I should do the talent show. So at this time it was like, I didn't really sing for anybody. I usually just sang, alone by myself. But on occasion, well, you could tell that I was really comfortable with you if I got to singing around you. So these guys, they've heard me sing before, and they thought that I had a good, decent voice. And they said, well, why don't you go and do the talent show? They would like you. And me being shy and stuff like that at the time, and I guess it wasn't. I guess it. I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was. I didn't have enough confidence, but it definitely was that. It definitely was that I. Well, see, this is the way that I am in life. Is that, when I do something, or when I attempt to do something, I attempt to do it with the best of my ability. And I notice that sometimes it'll hold me back, because if I for some reason think that, like, say, well, for the singing, for instance, if I think that that I'm not going to do a good job, or if I miss a note or something like that, people aren't going to like, they're not going to like, my song or whatever. So, a lot of these different little thoughts are coming to my head with, like, they might end up telling me to shut up, or, something like that. But, so that was pretty much my mindset. And so I was really shy when it came to singing to a lot of people, or singing in front of a lot of people. But they urged me. They kept saying, come on, man, you can do this. I mean, just go ahead and just go ahead and try it out. Because even though it was just one of these little put together things, last minute put together things, still had to audition for it. So I was like, well, I don't have any music really to sing to, as far as like instrumental music and stuff like that. I was like, well, I don't have any really instrumental stuff, and I don't want to sing a cappella, because I don't think they're gonna like me. So, but I was like, okay, hey, I'll go ahead and I'll try it. And I went and I picked the song, and I went out there at the audition. So the audition came, and it was a little small group. Now there was the base auditorium, which was like a makeshift. It was kind of like one of them tents. It wasn't a tent really. It was like one of those. I don't know how else I can explain it, but it was one of these. It was like a dome, I guess a dome tent or whatever. It had the metal frame and the tent canvas that goes over the top of it, but it was an actual building, just made out of the the heavy duty tent stuff. But yeah, it was an actual building and stuff like that. And this place, I guess it was going to hold about maybe 500 people or so, somewhere around there, 500 something people. So it was a fairly large place, and it had a huge stage, and it had in the back, it had, like, I guess it had like a little kitchen or whatever back there, or what have you. So there was several of us that met for the audition, and the lady that was putting it together, she ran through what she was trying to accomplish, and she wanted to pick certain people to be in the talent show. So she, whatever anybody's talent was, she, if they was good enough, or she thought that it was good enough, she would be like, okay, well, we'll put you into the show. So she needed to get a couple MCs, so people auditioned for that. She got some people that was going to do some comedic work, and then comedic work, and then some people doing poetry and stuff like that. But then there was others like myself, who was doing songs. So after all the preliminaries were done, just fast forward a little bit, it got to my turn to where where it's my turn to step up and audition, and I was like, well, I got this song, but I don't have, I didn't have a instrumental or anything like that, but um, I can sing along to this song. She was like, oh, don't worry about it. We can try to manipulate it to where where your voice comes out on top and all that kind of stuff, right? So I'm like, okay, but I was like super nervous, y'all. I was like super nervous, right? Because I'm like, I don't know if they're gonna like me or whatever. So now the song that I chose to for my bust out groove there, so that my debut was it's a very popular song. You all know it. Every one of you has heard it, and it was and I still sing it today. Well, I haven't sung it here recently, but when I would go out and sing, I would always sing it. But it was "Let's Get It On" by Marvin Gaye, and so I'm up on the stage and I got the mic, and they're getting ready, and let me tell you, I was so nervous, and I don't know if they could tell or not, but I was wearing pants, and it was kind of baggy. But I was so nervous that my legs were shaking inside my pants. It was kind of shaking, and so they started the song, and you know how it starts out, wow wow wow, right? And then I just belted it out, and even though I was nervous, I still managed to hold my voice composure and everything, and it came out clean and stuff like that. And once I did the first couple of notes, they was like, oh, so I'm like, okay, just hold on to it, just go along with the song, just keep going. And no more than after getting into the song for about a minute or so, right? I'm singing, and I got everybody up front, kind of like waving back and forth. Somebody pulled out a lighter and started waving it up, like that. And then everybody else started doing the same thing, right? But the most interesting thing had happened is that while I was singing the song, it, like I said, it was a very large place that could hold about maybe 500 some people in there, right? So, but there wasn't that many people in there. It was just that it was just us that was auditioning. So it was a small group, and we was all just sitting there. Or they was all sitting there, getting into the song. But like I said, while I was getting into the song, I look in the back, and the back door started to open up, right? And what it was is that people from outside heard me singing, and they opened up, they came inside to see what was going on. And this is why I was like, wow, this is what would help me become more comfortable. I'm like, all this time, everybody was auditioning for stuff. Nobody, extra people weren't coming in. But when I came up there and I started singing, I was drawing people into the building, and they were coming in to see what was going on and all that kind of stuff. And they was just like, they was like, what? You have to, oh, go on ahead, oh, So, so by this time now, I'm like, okay, there's more and more people in here. At the same time, I get more pressure because I'm like, more people, more eyes are on me, so I got to make sure that I do well. But then the other side is fighting at me. It's like, go on, man, go on. You got them. So you're drawing them in. So I was like, I was just going with it, right? So after I got done, after everything was done, there was people that were still in there. They hung around to watch the rest of the people. Well, some of them hung around to check it out, check out the rest of it. But yeah, I brought them in, right? And when we were all done, we was leaving. This one dude, he came up. He says, man, that was you up there singing? I was like, yeah, that was me. He says, you sound just like the record. I was like, oh, well, thank you. Because so a little side note is that I'd actually had been practicing to sound, to have that sound like Marvin Gaye. I learned how to have that raspy sound, and I learned how to sing in his the same style of his falsetto, and I like I said, my singing style is heavily influenced by through Marvin. And so yeah, so I studied his voice, and I learned how to sing his songs, and I got pretty good at singing pretty similar to him, so yeah, so when it came time for the talent show, it had all these different people coming up there and stuff like that. And they had people doing comedy sketching at the time. Kings of Comedy was pretty popular, so you had people going and recreating that Kings of Comedy show, and it was pretty funny. We had some other singers and stuff like that. The MCs was keeping the crowd live, but I got up there and I started singing, and I mean the whole crowd just went crazy with with the song, right? So it was over, and everybody went home, and so well, I mean home. Everybody went back to their dorms and stuff like that. Now, I was also pretty shy with the ladies too, and I had a few girls holler at me the night of the after the show, and I was just kind of like, I was kind of like, it was that same thing again, where it's like, I was shy, and I guess kind of fearful or whatever, and I guess the confidence level was not up too much, just because it's like, hey, I wanted to make a good impression, and I was just nervous or even afraid that I wouldn't make a good impression, and so that kind of kept me away from anything happening with the ladies. So, but the next day, me and some of the guys, we went out to the pool, and we was out there, hanging out and stuff like that. And I don't remember too much about this, but I remember that this one girl, she came up to me in the pool, and she didn't know my name, but she must have seen me up there on, she must have seen me up there on stage or whatever. So when she saw me out there in the pool, she got out there in the pool, and then she came up to me, and because she didn't know my name, she called me Marvin. And she was well, pretty much she was trying to hook up with me, but I, because I was too too shy and stuff like that, I just kind of missed out on that opportunity. But there had been a few times where that had happened, and I'm just like, wow, that's that's interesting. But that day was the first time that I had decided to sing out in public like that, and afterward, that gave me. I started to feel a little more comfortable with singing out in public like that, and at venues and things like that. So fast forward to that, it was January 2nd, 2000. That was the day that I had joined the church that I was attending at the time, and I decided to join the church, and I gave my life to God. Well, in all actuality, it's always been my life had always been with God. It's just that I decided to acknowledge my salvation. So it was January 2nd in the year 2000, and this was in Omaha, Nebraska, where I was attending Salem Baptist Church, and so that was my church home at the time. And so I joined the church, and ended up you know how it is when you join the church. Now they're like, well, we gotta put you somewhere to serve in the church and stuff like that. And so I chose the choir, and so I was in the choir. And shortly after I joined, they announced that they were going to record a live album. And I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. I mean, I like to sing, and in my younger days, I've always wanted to be a recording artist, And so I'm like, well, this will be interesting because it could give me an idea of what it could give me some idea of how a record's made, how an album's made. So we did the album. The choir is called the Voices of Victory, and the album, I think it's called They That Wait. I think it is something like that. But yeah, they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like an eagle. So we did that. We did an album, and I didn't get a lead part to do in the album, but I did participate in the live recording. I was part of the choir, and I missed the photo session where they got the whole choir together to do the photo session, which is on the album cover. So you won't see me in there, but I don't know if they selling. I don't know if they still have the video for it, but there was video. I don't know if they have it in an archive or something like that, but there was a video of the whole production where I was in that. But yeah, I did. That was my first professional recording, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool. But I didn't. It didn't really go nowhere for me. Basically it's just because I didn't have. I didn't have. I didn't. Well, I guess I didn't. Network enough. I didn't get in touch with people who who can get me those kind of opportunities. But that's what I wanted to do when I was younger. I wanted to be a performer and stuff like excuse me, stuff like that. But that started it got me to become more confident and less fearful of singing in front of strangers and stuff like that. And so I would do that, do the kind of stuff. And so when I some years from that, when I went back home to San Diego, I was living there, and I ended up going to little local bars and stuff that do like karaoke and stuff like that, that do their little karaoke competitions, and I'd win little karaoke competitions and things like that. But the one competition that I did win was I went to go perform at Viejas. I went to go perform at the Viejas Casino. There was a karaoke competition that was taking place at Viejas, where the prize was $500, right? And I was like, oh, maybe I'll go out there and check it out. So I went out there, and there was quite a few people out there that was going to that was doing the karaoke. Well, it was one of those things where they had a competition like every week for, I don't know, I think it was like 8 weeks. It was during the summertime, and they was getting they was having people come out every week, and they only had like so many slots every week for the competition. So what would happen is that every week they'd have they fill up spots, and then they would have out of the competition they would pick or the crowd would pick the crowd would pick a winner for that particular week. And what would happen is that at the end of the several weeks, there'd be like a finals competition, and that's where you win the $500 if you won the competition. So so I went out there a few times, and I didn't get a slot there, so I had to keep coming back, and eventually I did get a slot, right? And it was like the last week. It was the last week that they was doing it, and so I got a spot, and so I got that. I'm listening to the people, and I'm listening to all these acts and stuff. And let me tell you, there was a couple of good ones, but most everybody was doing like these slow ballad songs and stuff like that. And so it was kind of I would say it was kind of dry, and the people was kind of they were starting to die off a little bit, right? But yours truly came through, and I got the people jumping, right? My song selection that I did that time was Whip It by the Dance Band. Oh my God, it had people, I mean, it was like a breath of fresh air for some of them people, because they was like, yo, this is kind of boring, But that song came on, and I mean, people that knew it and loved the song, they got up and, oh yeah, we're gonna dance, yeah, and they just having a ball, right? And I'm just, wanna see you whipping, sure could treat you right. Give me just a minute for your fun life. We both are here to have big fun, so let it whip, And so, just to say this, after everybody had done the acts, the crowd chose, and they chose. What they would do is that at the end of each of the competition, they would choose like 2 people, right? And then they would do a battle off, and then whoever won that would end up going to the finals. So I did that, and then so the crowd chose. They chose me, and they chose somebody else, right? So for my next song, I hit the crowd with some Jungle Love. You all know Morris Day, and what was what was funny was that I was doing the dance moves and everything, so everybody was getting up and they was getting live and stuff like that. So um, so they ended up choosing me as the winner for that competition. So I got to the finals, and then with the finals, I forget what songs I did for the finals, but to make that long story short, what I did was I ended up winning that competition. I won the $500. I won that, and I was like, this is cool, and so I wanted to start looking for other karaoke competitions, and there was another one that I participated in. There was a couple of friends of mine that we all went down. It was down at the beach. I forget where it was at. It was it was Belmont Park. That's right. They had the local radio station was doing a karaoke contest, and there was prizes that they were giving away, but the ultimate prize was to go. I forget who it was. It was some pop band to go out and see their concert, and it was all paid expenses, flight, a couple nights out in Florida, something like that. And then there was a couple other things, but it was to win tickets to go see some pop band. So every week we would go out there, and it was like every Friday night, I think it was. We'd go out there, and I snagged one of the spots for the finals, and the finals that came, and we had everybody did their little thing, that sang and everything, and it came down to the two finalists, and I was one of the two finalists, and then the other one was a girl, a little young girl, right? And we had to compete against each other. Now, the crowd chose, right? The crowd chose the girl, and she sang really well. I mean, I think she was 12 at the time, but she sounded like she had the voice of a 25-year-old when she sang. I mean, it was just, you just a little small girl, and she just belting out these notes, man. I mean, she was pretty good, but I'm like, dang, I got beat out by a 12-year-old girl. But she did have a good voice, and I think what really set it off for her was that she had more people out in the crowd supporting her. So she won that competition, and I was like the second runner up. But I did pretty well, and so I understand. I know that I am capable of singing a decent song. So those are just my little memories, and that's pretty much it, but I hope you enjoyed that, and Mom, if you see this video, I sang a song, and if any of y'all like this video, hit the like button. If you enjoyed my singing and you want me to sing some more songs, let me know. Put it down in the comments. I'll see about singing some other songs. But yeah, I hope that you have a wonderful time, and so I'll leave you with this. Like sweet morning dew, I took one look at you, and it was plain to see that you were my destiny. My arms are open wide for you. I forgot. I will go where you lead. Something in time. I'm messing it up now. I'm just messing around and fooling around. But, I'll do this one. It's like, folks say that you found someone new to do the things I used to do for you. Just call my name, I'm not ashamed. I'll come running back to you. I can't sleep at night, I can't eat a bite. When you were mine, I didn't treat you right. Just call my name, I know I'm not ashamed. I'll come running back to you. Anyways, I'll see y'all later.